everybody, my name is Charlene. I'm a CPA. Welcome everybody for joining us in this webinar. In this webinar, we will be covering the topic of how do you apply for the economic injury disaster loan. Joining me is Remy Elawar. Hi Remy, how are you? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, hi Charlene. Hello the small business owners. My name is Remy Elawar and I'm with Cadence Bank, and we're committed to helping small businesses maneuver through the relief options that are available on the Small Business Loans website. And this today we're our hope is to specifically focus on the emergency grant that is available to all business owners today. So thank you for having me, Charlene, and I look forward to adding value to this presentation.
Great. So on Friday, March 27, Congress passed the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security, which we call the CARES Act. It's an estimated $2 trillion package, which specifically allots $10 billion for EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loans, and $350 billion for Paycheck Protection Loans to help small businesses. So today our focus is the EIDL. So on the EIDL, a lot of people have been asking questions such as, well, how do we qualify for the $10,000? And Remy, can you share with us a little bit about that?
Yes. So to qualify for the economic injury disaster loan, we are focusing on just one of the loans, and this is the emergency $10,000 grant. Okay, it's a cash advance that should be utilized for paying payroll, accounts payable, invoices, rent, and utilities. It's specifically designed to help you in this interim period, and it doesn't have any repayment structure that will help you offset. It may be forgiven, and that's only if you can prove that you've utilized it for any one of the following. And as I described, temporary loss of revenue, payroll, accounts payable, rent, or like utilities, phone, water, cable, and internet, for example. But I've been having a couple of questions for my business owners, Charlene, and for them, they're wondering if I already have a business line of credit, or a SBA loan, can I apply for this as well?
Yes, according to the SBA site, they do mention that if you have a line of credit or if you already have an SBA loan, you will still be able to apply for this $10,000. It is a new streamlined online application. I know for those of you who have been visiting the website in the last few weeks, I know people have been, having difficulty registering an account. The site's really slow. They have revamped the whole thing. So right now you should not have any such complication. In fact, the application is so streamlined as such that you will be able to finish it within 5 minutes or less. But we actually do have some interesting questions that we want to share with you. One of it being, recently I have a client who contacted us and said that he has been recently laid off from his employment, and he's wanting to start a business, and he's asking whether if he start a business today, would he be eligible for this $10,000 loan? Remy, can you share some insights?
So unfortunately, if you started a business anytime after January 31st, 2020, you cannot qualify. So it's too late to hurry up and try to create a business entity to take advantage of this. However, you can still visit the SBA.gov/coronavirus website. And they will have a different alternative options, but unfortunately, you will not qualify for the $10,000 grant if you didn't already incorporate or have a business in operation before January 31st, 2020.
Okay, so say you receive this $10,000 within 72 hours, and then business owners ask, well, how do I spend this $10,000? How do I apply for loan forgiveness? So I want to provide more information for business owners who have such concern. So the $10,000, the loan forgiveness provisions are actually very generous, as long as you meet few of the criteria. The first criteria is you have to utilize the $10,000 for payroll, and then for rent, and then for utilities. So utilities such as electricity, gas, water, transportation, telephone, internet access. So basically what they're saying is that any necessary expenses or operating expenses that you need to utilize to keep the business going, which is the three criteria. I repeat, it's payroll, it's rent, and utilities. And then we have an interesting question. A business owner asks, I started my business last year, Charlene, but I really don't have office space. Well, what if I sign a lease right now, today? Would I be able to utilize the $10,000 to pay rent for the rest of the year? Remy, you want to share some insights?
So unfortunately, no. If you have a rent pursuant to a lease in force before February 15th, so if you have had rent prior, paid rent and have a lease in force prior to February 15, 2020, you are able to deduct that rent expense. But if you on February 16th, you have a rent lease agreement in force, then and the lease agreement starts on February 16th, 2020, you are disqualified from using these funds for rent to offset the rent costs. However, utilities are included. So think about electricity, gas, water, transportation, telephone, and internet services, which began also before February 15th, can qualify. Take into consideration other aspects of your business that you end up paying out of pocket for: group health insurance premiums and other health costs. How about insurance costs associated with maintaining your equipment or your facility? What's the premium for that as well? This is part of those deductions that you can look at. Again, this is the loan forgiveness provisions are very generous here for the 10,000 emergency grant. And some of the key items that we're discussing are really to help retain employees, number one, and two, to get us through the hard times. So, Charlene, are there other ways, other provisions that we have to be aware of for our clients? What are some of the other provisions?
So business owners, you want to be very careful. So for this $10,000 to be forgiven, you must maintain same average number of employees for the first 8-week period, beginning on the origination date of the loan from between February 15 to June 30th. So if you don't meet this requirement, then the amount forgiven is going to be reduced, which means you want to make sure that if you have a salary cut for your employees, it's not drastic, as in it's not more than 25%. Remy, I know that there's actually a U.S. Chamber of Commerce step-by-step calculation. Can you also take us through that? I think it's a calculation to determine whether employees, whether employer actually meet the criteria of the amount being forgiven, right?
Yes. So take into consideration that there will be a calculator available. Charlene, under her website, xqcpahouston.com. I encourage everybody to visit this website. Under links and resources at the top left-hand corner, you will find the content of this webinar, including this step-by-step calculation. At this point, I want to inform everybody it's important that we move forward with applying for this federal grant. However, it is at some point, if you don't use these funds for these purposes, you will have to pay it back. And one thing that we found is that they will put you on a payment schedule on a 10-year amortization. So again, just keep in mind that though this is a grant, most businesses that are applying for it may not be able to use it for any one of these provisions. And if they do not use it for one of these provisions, then it will not be forgiven. And if it is not forgiven, then they will put you on a 10-year amortization to help you pay back this loan to the federal government. So I don't want everybody to run out there thinking this is free money. This is money that you may have to pay back, but to keep in mind that what we're trying to do here is accomplish two things: help keep your business in business, and number two, help keep employees employed. So, we can go through the resources, and again, to understand it in depth further, we will take you through those steps by visiting xqcpahouston.com. There's a lot of confusion as to which SBA loan do I apply where. And one of the biggest misconceptions is that your bank is going to help you with all of these loans, or your CPA is going to help you with all of these loans. And one thing I want to let you know is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, the EIDL, this loan specifically under the $10,000 guideline, grant and guideline, has to go only through SBA.gov. So this is not something your CPA or your banker can help you with. We're putting this webinar together to help you understand that this is something you have to do for yourself. Nobody can help you apply for this, okay? Now, there are individuals out there overnight that have asked that they can do this for you. However, I want to caution that they will charge a fee, and they are able to charge a fee. But if you can do this on your own through the steps that Charlene is going to show you, we can help you manage this. It will take you 4 or 5 minutes. So please don't pay anybody else to do this if you can do it for yourself. So Charlene, the most exciting part is how do my business my business clients apply for this loan, and what website, where do they need to visit to get this started?
Okay, so the website, the URL is sba.gov/funding-programs/disaster assistance. When you go on the website, there will be a pop-up in orange color. It's called Coronavirus COVID-19. Apply for EIDL. Click here. So that is the shortcut, because if you click there, then it takes you directly to, the $10,000 application. Now, if you don't find that pop up, then what you do is that the long ways would be click apply for assistance, and then it will take you to disaster loan applications, and then you will see a link called EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loans and Loan Advance. And then once you're there, you will see another sentence that says to apply for COVID-19 EIDL, click here. Now, some people are actually confused about, this portion, because, there's like 3 click here's, and if you look at, further down, it does say that to apply for disaster loan unrelated to COVID. So that will be something outside of COVID, right? So if you're applying for the $10,000, you obviously want to click on the one that's related to COVID. And once you click into it, you are going to land on a page where it says COVID-19 EIDL application. You would see 5 circles. The 5 circles is disclosures, business information, business owners information, additional information, and summary. That's when you know you are on the right page. The application starts with, eligible entity verification. And if you look through all these criteria, it is saying that if you are an applicant, you have to be a business with not more than 500 employees. Meaning, if you are a large corporation, like if you're a Macy's, then you will not qualify. All right, and then the second portion is you're going to have to review and check all of the following, and those are also some of the eligibility rules. And if one of them, such as applicant is not engaged in any illegal activity, you have to check all these boxes in order to continue. Meaning, if you are unable to check one of those boxes because you don't meet the criteria, then don't hit continue, don't check it and hit continue, which means you probably have to look for other alternatives. So once you go to the next page, you are going to come to business information section. So a lot of business owners are confused, about what's legal name, what's business legal name, what's the difference between business legal name and trade name. Remy, you want to share some insights?
Yeah, so typically businesses will have normal businesses outside ones that have trade names will have a single member LLC, a corporation. Let's just say Dr. So-and-so runs a business, and it's Podiatry LLC. Well, he will normally have a DBA that he operates from outside of the LLC. So the DBA will be Kids Incorporated, right, or Kids Only Inc. However, he decides to do that. The legal structure says that the LLC is your business name, and your trade name is what you're doing business as. Now you're going to ask me, well, what happens if I don't have a DBA? Well, then your business legal name and your trade name are the same names that you put into those categories. So good question, Charlene. I also wanted to just interject and just remind everybody that when you're looking at the number of employees, remember that includes all part-time employees, full-time employees, and any ones on any other status. Just as a reminder to the employee section. And then to move forward, will you explain for us the EIN versus Social Security for sole props? What do we do there, Shirley?
Yeah, so if you're a sole proprietorship or if you have a LLC, typically for all businesses, you do get a tax ID, which is also called employer's identification number. This is a tax ID that you would obtain when you have a business on irs.gov. Now, if you don't have that and you have not been using that, then you can use your social security number. I think what's confusing for a lot of business owners is the organization type, because in the scenario where you have an LLC, but you elect to be taxed as S corporation, which is really the case for a lot of businesses in the US, then your organization type is really not LLC, it's really S corporation. So this is a portion you probably can pick up the phone, reach out to your accountant. The best way is to refer to your tax filing and see what is your entity structure and select the correct entity structure. The next part is it does ask for information to be provided for gross revenue for the 12 months prior to the date of disaster, which is January 31st. Mm-hmm. So what they're asking for is February the 1st, 2019, and then 12 months all the way to January 31st, 2020. So which means for business owners, if you don't have your books updated, you probably don't have this information. Right, so you need to get your books updated. It is best for you to provide, the numbers that are as accurate as possible. In terms of cost of goods sold, there's also a lot of confusion. Like the other day, a dentist called me and said that, well, I'm a dentist, so I provide services. I don't sell a product. So do I have cost of goods sold? The answer is no. If you are in service business, you really don't have cost of goods sold, because cost of goods sold are only applicable if you're selling a product. For example, if you're in retail, you're in distribution business, you're distributing goods, then you would have cost of goods sold. So don't worry, if you really don't have cost of goods sold, then you just put 0. It should be fine. All right, and then the next page would be the individual owner / agent, and then I'll let Remy continue on this section.
So, Charlene and I are covering all of the red asterisks. The more information that they need, you can go ahead and fill those in those places, those sections. But what we're going to cover is what's only in the red asterisks and allows you to move through the application to secure the funds. So under the individual owner or agent, owner's name, last name, phone number, and title or officer, those are pretty generic and pretty standard. As an LLC, you can be a member, vice president, president, so you can put that there. Your ownership percentage is where a lot of my business owners are having trouble. I want to convey that if any business owner owns more than 20% equity in your company, then those individual owners need to be added to the application. I say that because what SBA is looking for is 100%. So Charlene had a pretty comical but true scenario where 3 business owners split the 100%, but when we did the math, it was 120 to 125% that they split the ownership to. So just make sure to revisit your ownership percentage and make sure it adds to 100%. And that if anybody owns 19.99% or less, they are not required to be added or included as an individual owner on this application. However, they own 20% or more, we need to add them. And then we will and then you continue into supplementing your email and social security number and date of birth. So what's revealing about the next section? It's asking step 3 of 3. It's the second to last step to finalizing the process. But what is under the additional information, Charlene?
Yes. Before we go through this section, I do want to piggyback or mention something that you mentioned that's pretty important yesterday. I think you did mention that when they fill out the address for their business, it's very, very important that you don't use a PO box. I know a lot of business owners, like when they file for their tax return, their legal address is actually a PO box. So in this application, when you go through the pages, it does specifically tell you do not put in PO box, because they actually really need like a legal address, like a physical address, and not PO box. So that's something that just want to highlight. It was mentioned by Remy yesterday. Also on the additional information, most of this really, in order to qualify, you have to say no. Some of the questions is such as whether you as a business owner, have you been convicted a criminal offense? You just have to put no, and then it will take you to the most exciting page, which is the next page. The next page, there's going to be a checkbox, and they will ask you, I would like to be considered for advance up to $10,000, and you would definitely need to check that box if you're applying for the $10,000. And also you need to make sure that on the where to send funds portion, double, triple, quadruple check that you provide the correct bank name, account number, and also your routing number, because that's when the funds will be direct deposited into your checking account. Now we actually have several business owners asking, do I put my personal checking account information? So Remy, do you have any advice for us?
Yeah, so I'm going to read this section to you. It says, we or our insurance company, bank, financial institution, or other creditors, you are authorizing those individuals to release to SBA all records and information, hence for the SBA to obtain credit information about the individuals completing this application. So, word to the wise, and some of my best practices that I'm advising clients: open a separate account for these funds in the name of your business, or have them deposited into your business account now, but move those funds into a separate business account to track the funds and how you're spending and when you're spending those that $10,000 emergency grant money, so that it can be forgiven versus being termed out on a 10-year amortization and possibly having to pay it back. But with that said, this is it's the best way to separate personal and business from each other. And now this is a third category where you need to track expenses. I believe in separating those that at that capacity to help with that, help mitigating this process for future for future needs for your business. Another they're asking, okay, so finally, what do I get? And do I get a confirmation number? Do I get something? And yes, thankfully, at the end of your screen, you hit the jackpot in a sense, but you've gotten to the right screen when you've had applications submitted and you receive an application number. I've advised everybody, please take a picture of this, write this number down, take a screenshot and email it to yourself and your business address. Can you visit your bank's online banking or call their customer service line to see if the funds have been deposited? Absolutely. The turnaround time for the government is a little bit too, I think, forthcoming. They say we're going to get it to you in 3 days. I caution you that to please, give it a little bit longer. I would say at least a week is what we're looking at this point. And check your emails, they say, because they will give you regular updates as to when the funds have been deposited and when they're moving. But outside of that, do you have anything else to add, Charlene, that we have questions or opportunities for our business owners to hear?
Yeah, so a lot of business owners commonly ask, well, I have already filled out the application for this $10,000. What is next? Yes. We do have other webinar that's upcoming. Of course, beyond the $10,000, what is common right now is that the SBA is also going to release more information and application for the PPP. And the CARES Act is saying that if you continue to hire your workforce and if you don't lay off or have salary cut drastically, then you can get loan forgiveness up to 8 weeks. So in our next session on Friday, we're going to share with you more information about how to go with that. I do want to caution our business owners, if you have not been talking to your bankers, or if you don't have a banker that you talk to, reach out to Remy, because this is a time before they release the application. You have to start building relationship and have a relationship with a banker to start preparing for the process, just like many of our business owners right now. So we will cover all of those. Obviously the PPP, the amount that business owners are qualified for will be way above the $10,000. So if you want more and need more help, please check us out our website, and then check out our next webinar. Till then, thank you so much, Remy. It's really great to have you as one of the presenters, and we will see you soon.
Thank you, and good luck to all business owners. We'll talk to you soon.